And these are the 2.1 notes, page 2. Now, at the top here, we want to graph this equation. This one happens to be a linear equation. We're going to do the same thing if we are graphing something that's not linear. If we are unclear as to what the graph should look like, we can always just plug in x values, find the y that goes with it, and go from there. So we're going to start with the easy one. X is 0. I get y equals -1/2 times 0 plus 4. -1/2 is 0. Sorry, -1/2 times 0 is 0. Plus 4 is 4. That means when x is 0, y is 4. And so we like easy numbers, so I'm going to plug in 1. I get y equals -1/2 times 1 plus 4, which is -1/2 plus 4, which is 3.5, and that's great, but you know what? I don't really want to graph that, and I don't have to. So I'm going to go on to 2, because if I multiply -1/2 times 2, I know I'm going to get a whole number. So -1/2 times 2 is -1 plus 4. I get +3 when x is 2, y is 3. And let's go, since I know 2 works, let's try -2. I'm going to get y equals -1/2 times -2 plus 4. Didn't need that. -1/2 times -2 is +1 plus 4, which gives me 5. So when x is -2, y is 5. This is linear, so I really should not need any more than 3 points to make sure that I have not made a mistake. You really only need 2 points to graph a line. We're going to go with 3 here just in case I messed something up. And then they won't lie in a straight line. It's fairly obvious. So I've got the point 0, 4. So 1, 2, 3, there's my 0, 4. At +2, I'm at 3. At -2, I'm at 5. And then I can just go ahead and connect the dots. Now, the reason for connecting the dots and drawing that line means that if I were to pick a number between the points that I picked, any x in there would also have a y. So let's go back to the x that I bailed on. When x is 1, y is 3.5. When x is 1, y is 3.5. That would be that point right there. It's not as easy to graph with those fractions. If we don't have everything laid out for us, stick to the whole numbers. You're going to be good. Here is a web link for graphing with a graphing calculator, the TI-83 or 84. This link should be active in your notes. It should take you to that YouTube video. Just a little support. If you're getting hung up on anything, please let me know. I can walk you through how to use that calculator to graph these. One of the things that we missed in high school algebra is being lazy and taking the easy route. And so sometimes we can graph just using intercepts. So when we talk about intercepts, we're talking about where our lines are going to cross the x and y axis, okay? When we cross the x-axis, that means that our y will be 0. And when we cross the y-axis, that means our x will be 0. So let's take a look at what that looks like in terms of this graph down here. I've got y equals -3/4 x plus 3. I want the y-intercept. I want to know where it crosses the y-axis. And if we look up and down along our y-axis, that's where x equals 0. At any point along here, y is going to have a value, x is going to be 0. I'm going to go ahead and count by 2s again, just so it doesn't get too crowded in here. 1, 2, -2, Let me count to myself. So the y-intercept we said was where x equals 0. So we're taking our equation y equals -3/4 times x plus 3. We are going to plug in 0 for x. I don't know what's going on. -3/4 times 0 plus 3, which is 0 plus 3, which is 3. So when x equals 0, y equals 3. And I'm going to go ahead and plot that over here. I've got this point, 0, 3, straight up. If I want my x-intercept, it's where it crosses the x-axis. I know that my y must be 0. So let's cheat for a minute here. So now my 0 goes in for my y. I get 0 equals -3/4 x plus 3. Subtract 3 from both sides. -3 equals -3/4 times x. I need to get rid of that -3/4 in front of the x. We know those are being multiplied, so our instinct is to say, well, we're just going to divide, which would be fine. But let's see if we can make it a little easier. I really don't want to divide by a fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and just multiply by the reciprocal. Doesn't matter. As long as I do the same thing on both sides, I'm okay. I got 3 and 3 cancels. 4 and 4 cancels. I got a negative times a negative is a positive. So that gives me my 3's cancel over here. I've got -4 times a -1, which gives me a +4 equals x, which means when my y is 0, my x is 4, and it's important to make sure that you put those numbers into the ordered pair in the correct place. I've got 2 points. Again, we really only need 2 points to graph a straight line. Here, because I substituted in 0, it is more likely that I did not make a mistake. And so I'm good just graphing using the intercepts. I'm going to go ahead and label my line this time. And boom, all done.